What is up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the Auburn channel. It has been quite some time, to say the least, of when we were last here. As a matter of fact, let me see. What was the last video I posted? Yeah, this has been a while. And like I said, when I started this particular one, this was only just like, this wasn't a top thing for me. This was just a really extremely side hobby because I do love Auburn football and I love talking about Auburn football and basketball. So the last Auburn sports video we did was back in April. So basically 4 months ago. Yeah, about 4 months ago was the last Auburn video I posted on here. But again, this is just a side hobby for me because I do have other channels that I do and stuff like that. But we are back. This is Auburn football week. This isn't a season prediction video. This is just more, I just kind of wanted to catch up because a lot has happened leading up to the start of Auburn's 2025 college football season, year 3 under Hugh Freeze. I wanted to do this just as a catch-up episode. And then I believe I'm probably just going to do Auburn's season prediction on Wednesday and also give you the score prediction for the Baylor and Auburn game on Friday. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. But as far as it goes to catching up, so boy, has it been just a roller coaster of nonstop people trying to rag on Auburn since basically June. So let's back it up here. In June, everything was fine. Obviously, going in spring camp's done. Now off season, not much recruiting going on for the most part. I think it was pretty much a dead period with the new NCAA rules and stuff like that. So one of the main things people talked about was Auburn losing some high-quality recruits. Now, a big thing that happened in June was the house settlement, which obviously we've been over this, we talked about it, which players can get paid, or schools will get a certain allotment. So let's say Auburn will get $60 million. They can divide up that however much money to go to the other academic programs, equestrian, softball, baseball, football, yada, 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 yada. So one of the issues that came up was Auburn started to lose recruits, flipping and things, or mainly flipping. I wouldn't say decommitting. It was mainly flipping to other schools like Georgia, Florida State, yada, yada, yada. And part of this was, number one, there was, yes, the house settlement, but number two, there was still the NIL side of things, and not a lot of people, because there's a whole restructure with the NCAA when it comes to, or not necessarily NCAA, but it's a whole restructure when it comes to these NIL collectives and stuff like that. So basically, Auburn decided that they were going to wait because by August 1st, they would have a clear idea on how the landscape of college football in regard to the house settlement and the NIL collectives would look like going into the 2025 season. And one of the big things that people wrongfully just kept doing over and over is Auburn was just losing recruit after recruit. Now, Hugh Freeze, played golf, which is, to be quite honest, I don't care. I believe while he was doing this was basically during a dead period anyway. So it doesn't matter. You don't have anything really to do. There's workouts and stuff like that, but he can't really be involved with that kind of stuff anyway. So what Hugh Freeze did in his time was play golf, which again, I don't care that he played golf. If it's his free time, if it's not distracting him from his job as the head coach of Auburn football, then I don't care if he plays golf. A lot of other coaches do their own side things as a side hobby from football and stuff like that. But because Auburn was losing recruits, it became this unnecessarily large and ridiculous story, and it was just so dumb throughout the summer. Well, August 1st comes around. Auburn's sitting like I think like 7, like they were pretty low, and depending on which recruiting site you were looking at, they were relatively low. I think the lowest I saw, they were like 70th. And it was just different. However, once Auburn definitely positioned themselves to pivot, because one of the things was, well, some of these deals that some of these players are getting is really not clear on how legit it is. So again, this is just something that has to be figured out and things like that. So a lot of people, or at least from the Auburn perspective of things, were saying that we don't know if some of these deals are even going to hold up or be legit by the time the season starts. And so it could be in a situation where a school is promising a player so much money that school may not be able to deliver on it, or they didn't know if the NIL side of things also went into the collective or with the house settlement budget that schools were allotted. So did a buying a player for in $200,000 in NIL money, does that not count against, like, let's say a $60 million cap, if that makes sense? And so that was just one of the things that people really didn't really know. So August 1st comes around, a little quiet, but boom, boom, boom. Auburn got Chase Matthews. They recently got a 5-star safety, Braylon Warmack, if I said his name correct. And then they got a linebacker as well. And right now, Auburn is sitting, I believe, within the top 30 in recruiting. Depending on what recruiting site you look at. But it was just like everybody was just ragging on Auburn for no reason at all. And here they are they got a 5-star safety in the class. Now this particular recruiting class is probably going to be a little bit smaller, maybe like 17, 18 recruits. I don't think Auburn is going to go very big because they back-to-back top 10 class on top of a top 25. I think it was when Hugh Freeze just got to Auburn. So pretty much a small class. So it's going to be a small class for this one, and then obviously in 2027 they're going to take a larger class, because you're going to be losing a good bit of people. Because like if you look at the roster now, Kane Lee after the season he'll probably turn pro. You're going to lose basically all of your offensive linemen because Auburn has like 6 guys on the offensive line that are have pretty good draft grades that are more than likely going to be gone at the end of the season. Eric Singleton, he'll be gone. I think Horatio Fields, he'll be gone. And then obviously you have some defensive. Well, you have some defense, like Keldrick Falk, he'll be gone. So there's some. Basically, what I think with this class, what you're going to try to do is get you high quality pieces to just be the replacements for the guys who are going to be end up leaving, going out as whether if it's like transfer portal or the draft. I guess it just depends on the situation, but I don't really expect that many people to like leave for the portal. I feel like more people will probably go out for the draft than they would the portal, but we obviously will see. So yeah, that was one of the things is Auburn recruiting. And then, we're getting closer and closer, and we got fall camp going on. Scrimmages, a lot of people are like, should we be concerned about scrimmages? The Auburn offense not doing well against the Auburn defense. And I don't really buy into the scrimmage stuff. You're going against your own team. They kind of know your tendencies, that kind of stuff. So I'd never really buy into the scrimmage stuff, because what you face against your own defense in scrimmages is going to be very different against, like, say, Baylor in week 1 this Friday. Because it may be a lot harder for you to score points on your own defense, but when you play against Baylor, it may be extremely easy to score points on Baylor's defense. So don't really buy into all that, the scrimmage stuff. And then there was the whole, we could see 3 quarterbacks. Everybody took that out of context, ran with it. So this offseason has just been nothing but just constantly. I don't want to say an Auburn PR nightmare, because people are just taking things out of context that Hugh Freeze has said and just putting a spin on it and just running wild with it. It's just like, if you go back and actually listen to some of the stuff Hugh Freeze said, because again, he was having a conversation with Andy Burcham, and Andy asked a question could we see all 3 quarterbacks? And in my mind, when I heard it, I didn't think much about it, because you could see all 3 quarterbacks. You have 2 cupcakes next week and the following week after the Baylor game in Ball State and South Alabama. So you could see Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight in those games. People thought he was talking about in the Baylor game, oh yeah, we could see all 3 quarterbacks in the Baylor game. Now, whether that is Hugh Freeze doing some gamingship, just maybe having Baylor spend a little bit extra time on somebody like Ashton Daniels, because he does have some tape out on him from when he played at Stanford. Could that be the case, or is just people they take what Hugh Freeze said and just ran with it? I don't know. It's just ridiculous. And then there's the whole play calling situation where people are like, oh, who's calling plays and stuff like that. This is kind of the same thing that happened last season anyway. So Hugh Freeze is there is an element here where it goes with Derek Nix because of a contract thing. Because if Derek Nix left Ole Miss, it would be he is calling plays as an offensive coordinator for whichever school he went to. So there is some interesting, could that be the case with why Hugh Freeze said what he said in regards to the play calling situation? Because from a contract standpoint, Derek Nix technically has to be the one calling plays. Now, Hugh Freeze is calling plays. I think everybody pretty much knows that. Now, again, it could be a collaborative effort, because I'm sure Auburn's not the only school that does this, but obviously, now whether that's them talking about putting the plays together for the first 10 set plays to open the game, that kind of stuff. Now that's a different question. But in game, I would think Hugh Freeze has more control of what's going on the offensive side of things. Now, Derek Nix and Ken Austin probably will have suggestions or something like that they want to put out to Hugh Freeze. But ultimately, I still think Hugh Freeze is the main guy doing things. He's the main guy controlling the offense. So we'll have to just see how that looks. But again, it was just something that was completely blown out of necessity, and the people just ran with the conversation. And it was just, everybody's because I'll watch Cover 3 podcast with Bud Elliott and all them from time to time, and Danny Cannell was just talking about he's concerned about Auburn because so many red flags and stuff like that come out of fall camp and I'm stop. Stop it. There isn't. Again, another thing that got blown out of proportion. Hugh Freeze got, you see Hugh Freeze throws his hat down, frustrated at Jackson Arnold because he didn't throw the ball, or he didn't see something that he was supposed to see, and they have been coaching him to see it and that kind of stuff. And a coach coaching, it's not a big deal. Why are we blowing up over something like that? Come on. Nick Saban is basically, there's videos of Nick Saban cussing out his players when they don't do something right, but we don't get on to him, and it's just ridiculous. It's just really, really dumb. But yeah, this season, a lot of people, I guess media wise too as well, a lot of people are feeling pretty high on Auburn, whether they want to admit it or not, because it was always year three. Let's be clear. It was always year three is when whether or not we would know if Hugh Freeze would work at Auburn. Now, the first 2 years, first year, you went 6-6. You made a bowl game. You lost the bowl game, obviously, but you went 6-6. Last year was just like you found ways to lose games, whether it was Peyton Thorne throwing a pick six to Oklahoma, Brady Cook coming back from Missouri from the hospital to beat Auburn, Vanderbilt beating Auburn. You always found ways to lose football games, and it was just, and a lot of that too is going back with like special teams. If special teams was better in some of these games and made some of their kicks, we would be having like a little bit more a different conversation. It was how these Auburn games have went over the course of 2024. But we do got Alex McPherson back. I believe he's slowly working his way back. I think they said he's good from like 40 and in, but obviously you're going to probably need him 45, 50 yards kicking, that kind of thing. But if the offense is going to be as good as we think it could be with Jackson Arnold, these receivers, and a very, very veteran and talented offensive line with some good running back options, you may not have to rely on Alex as much. If you can score points in the red zone, which is something Auburn struggled with a good bit from time to time in the 2024 season, you definitely can win games. Now, I don't think this is an Auburn football team, just looking at the roster and things like that and the way the defense is. If the defense is as advertised, if this defense, I can't remember what they were last year ranked, but if this is a top 25, maybe top 20-ish, yeah, I think maybe top 20. If this is a top 20 defense in college football this year, you don't need your offense to go out and score 40 points a game. If Auburn can go and not turn the ball over, not find ways to lose games, and just consistently, basically, if Jackson Arnold can be a game manager, make the throws that are there, make the plays that are there, and things like that, keep Auburn on schedule, score maybe 27, 28. Maybe 30 points a game, depending on the situation, your defense can definitely, hold down the fort on their end, because Auburn didn't get blown out by anybody in 2024. That defense was outstanding for what it had, and it should be even better now with the additions that they brought in through the portal and the high school ranks. Now, one thing I would like for them to do a better job at is getting turnovers. That was definitely something that was lacking in that regard last season, was getting interceptions, causing fumbles, that kind of stuff. But I think another year under DJ Durkin, you definitely can start creating a little bit more complex designs with the defense. And so it's going to be interesting to see on if this Auburn defense can take that next level and be complex with their coverages and stuff like that, that can definitely, that'll be able to lead more into getting turnovers and that kind of thing. So, but we'll see though. We'll see. We're a couple of days out from the opening, obviously open on a Friday night, 7 p.m. Everybody's pretty much excited, a little nervous. Like I said, I will have my Auburn prediction out on Wednesday. Either I'll do the prediction on Wednesday and do the Baylor game prediction, or I'll just do that separate and put that on Thursday before the game comes out, or before the game and everything like that. So I haven't decided just yet, but obviously we'll just see how things go in that regards. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be a very good season, but obviously we have to just wait and see on how things play out. But other than that, guys, that is relatively it. We are back. College football is here. Very excited. And, we're only like, 2 months or so away, 3 months or so away from college football or college basketball being back as well. So it is good time to be an Auburn Tiger fan. But guys, that is relatively it. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.